Yo, what is it about Japan and the idea that you cannot be something other than your socially assigned role? And I feel like it's a systematic thing and a social thing. So, a story I read like a while back, maybe months ago. I remember the headline to this day was a teacher. I think it was last year during Corona. A teacher got fired or fined or something like that for working a second job after hours, even though he was a public school teacher. And because like he was struggling, he needed to make more money. He was doing like Uber Eats or something like that, and he made like $10,000 from it, and he made a sizable amount of money from grinding. The man was grinding, right? And he got fired for it, or he got in trouble for it, or something like, or fined, or something because he was working outside of his duties, and he was whatever. He wasn't being he wasn't just being only a teacher. And I found that really kind of baffling to me, where it's like, yo, how are you going to restrict a man's from trying to make a living, especially when you don't pay them enough for what they are doing? And, maybe it's a social thing or maybe it's a contract thing. So there's kind of 2 points here where it's like, I remember when I was with my last job, they're like, yo, when you're working here, you're only allowed to work here. You're not allowed to work for another company and stuff like that. And one, that could just be a conflict of interest where it's like, hey, you can't work for a similar company because you're working for a competitor. But I remember when I was even working as a seishain, like an actual full-time employee at another one, and they're like, I'm like, yeah, I gotta go to Baito after work. They're like, oh, what? You're allowed to do that? What? What do you mean? What? And that's like, I was so baffled. Maybe it's a cultural thing where it's like, yo, I'm not allowed to have another job and try and make some more money because I'm not getting enough here. So I found that really baffling. I was like, what? What do you mean? Right? And it's kind of like this meta where it's like if you are, a full-time employee, that's it. You're done, bro. That's all you're allowed to make officially on paper anyway. You're not allowed to be anything else. And I found that kind of weird. I was like, why am I not allowed? Why are you restricting me so much and making me live on this poo-poo wage, right? So I found that kind of baffling. And the second thing, well, that might just be like contractual, business kind of related stuff. But the second thing was like, socially, you are not allowed to be something else outside of work. Like what you are at work is what your life is supposed to be in the eyes of the public. And I think that's just a shortcoming, kind of just a consequence of collectivism and shame culture and stuff like that, and trying to, appear. It's weird, man. It's weird because Japan, you're taught in the West, like don't care what other people think. But in Japan, it's the opposite, where it's like you should care about what other people think because you're going to become meiwaku or something like that too, right? So I found that kind of just weird. So when you become an ALT, you can't be something else outside of that because people see you as a sensei, even though you're not a sensei or a teacher. Like on paper, you're just like, dancing monkey or whatever. Like people perceive you as that. So like if you go, for example, in your private life, let's say you go to work and you're a great ass ALT and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then you go after work with your boys, you go out and get smashed and you be a little reckless outside. You can't do that, right? Your image as a teacher is going to be sullied by whatever you do outside. And another one is like, if you're a content creator and you make content out on YouTube about whatever content you want, you're free to do whatever you want because you're not working right now. You're allowed to be your own person on the internet, and whatever you do in your private time is what you want to do. But apparently in Japan, that's not what it is. I've seen people get in trouble and get fired or threatened to get quit or something like that because of content they've made on the internet about whatever they do. Like whether it's a controversial video, like maybe my videos back in the day, I made videos about school, like that could possibly, luckily my school was chill. That stuff probably would have got me fired. And it was weird. I was like, this is the first time I've ever felt scared to express my hobbies or my interests with people in my workplace or people around me because I'm worried that not only will it sully my image as a teacher or whatever social role I've been assigned, but it will also sully my, actual career. I'd actually get fired for it or something like that because I'm not upholding the image that they want me to have. in my own private time. So it's weird, man. It's just like you feel really shackled by societal standards here. And I think that's normal. That's just kind of something they've always done for years and probably decades now. But I don't think that's really healthy. And it's kind of weird too. It even goes into like, social roles. Let's say like, I don't know, for example, you're a woman in Japan and your social role, like let's be high key here. The old guard, they're like, your role is to be a housewife, right? So anything you're doing, like let's say you have a talent, like I'm really good at cooking. Yeah, I like cooking because I watch Gordon Ramsay and I just want to be a good cook so I can work in a restaurant one day. But someone just tell you like, yo, oh, that's great. You'll be a great housewife someday. Or let's say there's a housewife who's good at sports or good at tennis or what like that. You'll say, whoa, that's amazing, sugoi, wow. Even though you're a housewife, you do all that stuff. It's like, what? Excuse me? Like, am I supposed to, just stay in this role and be this job class? Right? Like, it's kind of funny because Final Fantasy 14, like you can be any job you want instead of just being locked into one thing like most RPGs. So I think that's like kind of like a jab at Japanese society. Like you're able to play whatever you want at any time because you are more than just one class, right? So, sorry. It's kind of frustrating having this kind of social role locked onto you and you're not allowed. Of course you're allowed, but you're not allowed to socially deviate from that path. And I find that a little bit troublesome. And there's only so much you can say, like you don't give a fuck about what people think, because it might actually affect your career, like quite tangibly, and that's scary. And it has a lot to do with like social shame culture and social roles and what you're supposed to play in society. And Japan has a meta like that, and it can't be helped. Obviously, you just gotta kind of keep your head down and just do what you got to do. But not letting a man make money because he's a teacher outside of the workplace. That's oof, bro. That's an oof. But I don't know what I'm going with this, guys. Let me know in your comment section down below what you think. And have you ever felt this kind of fear? Let me know.